Welcome back, everyone, to the Hoops HQ show. We are very pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Mr. Mark Pope. Coach, thank you for being on the show. Things are going better for the Cats. I have to start with that video that everybody saw that went viral about you meeting your daughter at the airport. Tell us that story briefly and what that experience was like for you.
Well, just special family moment for sure. I mean, all of us that are blessed to have children can relate to the fact that you especially daughters, man, sons, whatever, but daughters are like magic. And I'm blessed to have 4 of the most extraordinary human beings walking around on the planet that are many versions of Leanne in their own way, right, with their own special talents and skills. And so, Avery had been gone for almost a year and a half, serving people in El Salvador and growing in her relationship with, uh, with her faith and with Jesus and becoming even more extraordinary person than she had. And, we're limited in contact with her. We only get to talk once a week is part of the program. And so, it just really special moment for us as a family. We're really close. And so you spend all that time, a year and a half, feeling like, there's just you're down a starter, and it's just magic to have her back. So it's been really special. It was a really special night for us. And then, we were blessed. Our other 2 daughters that don't live here were able to fly in for the weekend, and we got to spend some time together. And there's nothing better, man. There's nothing better if you start with family in your life, with whatever that might look like for you. If you start there and finish there, then the rest of it is icing. I really believe that, and it's just the most important institution on this planet.
Hey, before we get to Kentucky, Mark, and we'll talk a lot about obviously everything going on there, because you brought that up, Seth, and I think it's important for us to just end it here. And, I'm sure you saw what happened at Oklahoma State with BYU and Kevin Young. Whatever they said about the official and, and using the Mormon faith in a negative light. And I covered BYU in the 90s. I saw it. I heard it on the road when I would cover BYU. People get very negative about the Mormon faith, and it should not be tolerated. The Big 12 came out and fined Oklahoma State. I'm just curious what your reaction was to that and what you had to deal with when you were the head coach at BYU.
Well, I don't think you're gonna like either of my answers, but I kind of feel 2 ways. I really do. I feel like it's unfortunate that we, um, you know, I love all the craziness. I love all the craziness that surrounds sports. I love fan bases, and I love how passionate they get. I love it. It's probably unfortunate that we're so much in personal and identity attacks. That's probably unfortunate. But it just is. It comes with the territory. That's what we do, right? So, there's a whole vibe on that where it's just like, you know, do we, maybe there are some lines that you wish we wouldn't tread on, right? And they actually don't mean anything. I think so often we just kind of choose the lowest hanging fruit to try and attack somebody just for the sake of attacking when we like, it's just insanity. On the flip side, I also think that, you know, r I grew up in a time where sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me. I think we've lost something there too. I think there's some real truth to that, in the sense of like, I'd like for us to be protective and sensitive as a society, and maybe more thoughtful with the things we say. But I'd also like to make us bully proof, where it's just like, hey, you know what? You can say whatever you want to me. That actually doesn't affect me at all. So I kind of have 2 different vibes on that, and I think in general, I think if both of those ways to look at this are probably really important. I think we should be more cognizant of what we say and not just be belligerent about saying things that have absolutely no meaning, that none of us are going to be proud of saying. It actually is a poor representation of on us as human beings. And also on the flip side, be like, people say whatever they want about me because I know where I came from and I know who I am. I love Deion Sanders. I quote him all the time. This idea of, you didn't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. God established me. Those are true words, man. And I think that's also an important part of this, is understanding, like, let's be sensitive and cautious to what we say. And let's also understand that we're building great, in this case, great young men, that words are not going to affect them. I think both those things are important.
Really well said, Mark. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the Katz, because like when you said about your daughter, felt like we were down a starter. If you were only down a starter at Kentucky, it would have been a lot easier for you this season. You're playing better, and this is my theory. You tell me if I'm anywhere close. You had this situation with Jalen Lowe. Is he in? Is he out? Obviously, best case scenario, he's healthy, ready to go. You shut him down of the season. It seems like we're kind of close to either a shutdown or very limited experience with Jaden Quaintance. The question of whether he is in or out. Cam Williams is done for the season. The best case scenario is that you have everybody healthy, but it seems to me that at least knowing who you have and taking away the uncertainty over that in your game planning, your practice, your repetitions, just your mindset, it seems that things are more connected and consistent, and now we have more of a defensive identity and a lot more confidence. Am I anywhere close to what's happening inside the locker room?
I would say emphatically yes, only because that's all we have left. So we're going to own it. I'm really proud of our guys. We're nothing like what, when you're putting a team together and you're preparing for a season and you're strategizing about what are going to be your strengths and weaknesses and what are you going to look like and how are you going to attack and how are you going to win. We don't look anything like we imagined. Not at all. This is not the plan. Was not the scheme. Was not how this was conceived at all. But that's the beauty of a season. That's the beauty of a journey. It's adjusting and figuring things out, and guys stepping up, and guys maturing, and guys leaning on each other. And I've said this a lot over the last several weeks, that we don't look anything like what we plan to look like. We're not actually probably doing this the traditional Kentucky way. It's probably not the traditional Kentucky season. With all that said, I feel bad for you if you're missing what's happening here right now, because it's awesome. I love stories. I love redemption. I love overcoming. And what these guys are doing right now, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I told them before the game against Tennessee, there's so much hype for us last Saturday because we had 96 in the house. We had Denham in the house. It was, it's a rival. It was the second game, and we had an epic comeback against them on the road. And I told the guys, there's all this stuff floating around, but really this is only about us. Like, this is the story you guys are writing right now. And it's a great story, man. Like, it's a story. I don't want to put the book down. I'm loving every second of this. It's not traditional. It's different, but it's pretty special. And I'm proud of our guys because they keep raising up and doing things that people don't think they can do and shouldn't be able to do. And it's not the way we expect to do it. We've had to recreate everything, but it's pretty cool.
Hey, Mark, the comeback kid, the comeback Katz, you guys have figured that out. When you guys get down, no one gets discouraged. We're seeing it in real time. Who knows what will happen Saturday against Florida? What is it about those huddles when you guys are down that this team believes, and you and the staff believe, they can come back? Because it probably will happen again.
Yeah. I think you earn belief, and our guys have just found a way to do it. Our guys have endured a lot this season, and a lot of it being like we put ourselves in holes too. Like, it's not like we're victims. We're not victims at all. we've certainly endured a lot, and I think our guys have got to a place where they look around the huddle and they're like, "We can do this." They look around the huddle and be like, "Hey, I know what Ortega's bringing right now. I know what Colin Chandler can do. I know he's bringing everything every time. I know that this Malachi Moreno, I'm watching him grow before my eyes. Jasper Johnson is growing up. He's not the same player he was 2 months ago. Mo Diabate is going to go save us in some non-traditional way by making some energy play that nobody else in the country can go make." I think the guys are starting to understand each other, and with this new look kind of identity that we have, I think guys are starting to believe. And I think the guys are also been like, hey, there's probably not a lot that's going to happen in a game that hasn't happened to us before, and we're not really scared of it. There's probably a lot of things that people could say about us, but there's nothing that they haven't already said last week or the week before or 3 weeks ago. So we know we can handle it. And so let's go. And when you come out the other side of those difficulties, man, you come out different. And I'm telling you, it's super cool. And these guys have a little bit of faith in each other.
Well, we can see that. I mean, it's really striking to watch you guys when you. I'm sure you'd rather not have these deep holes you want to dig out of. You referenced about putting things on yourself, and we all know the external pressures that come with coaching at Kentucky and playing at Kentucky early in the year. And you're a guy who just always wears your emotions on your sleeve. You're transparent. You're not cunning. Maybe a fault on some level, but I don't know. I felt maybe concerned is overstating it, Mark, but I was a little concerned for you and for the program that you were so transparent with your emotions that maybe it was adding to that, frankly. And in talking to your former college coach, Rick Pitino, I know he said to you, "Hey, you can't show any weakness to the media. Don't show any weakness to the media." So I'm just wondering. There's something to be said for being honest and transparent and emotional and all those things. But I'm just wondering if you look back on your comportment, especially in these press conferences and these public settings early in the season, do you look back on that and say, "Hey, man, that's how I am and that's how I'm going to roll"? Or do you say, maybe I got to learn to dial that back? I'm coaching in a different deal right now.
Well, first, Coach called me after Michigan State. I got to, and Coach is so great. He's the greatest. He's become a great friend and an incredible mentor. But I'm also still terrified of him. He called me after Michigan State. He was so pissed, man. He was just like, "What are you doing?" And I love him for it. I think it's both, Seth. It's always both, right? So it's both. One, listen, as a leader of an organization, it's important that you exude confidence in everything you do. That's important, and belief. And I think sometimes, there's nothing. I've never seen anything like this. This media circus that is relentlessly Kentucky basketball. So sometimes, like, there's a part of the story that just gets cherry picked and hyper focused on that doesn't really. There's not really a lot of effort in telling the whole story. It's just like, what's the story that's going to sell right now? That's exactly what it's supposed to be. Like, there's no animosity in that. And so in that sense, being a governor of the messaging that's coming from Kentucky is really important. That's really, really important. And that's something that I'm going to grow into as we do this job. It's very important. It's important for our team. It's important for our fan base. It's important for the basketball world as a whole because Kentucky is, I'm saying this, Kentucky is the basketball story in college basketball. It just is, right? Whether we're good or bad, it's the story. And so I have some responsibility there to continue to grow into the job of being, of doing a better job, putting out the concise messaging that needs to come from here. The flip side is that I'll always own it. I want my players to own it. I want everybody in this organization to own it. And the only way you get there is by owning it yourself. And that's really painful. It's hard. You don't want to. You want to blame everybody else in the world. But the second that you do that, the second you place blame somewhere else, that is actually inferring to yourself that you don't have the power to change it. I never want my guys to feel that way, ever. So that process of embracing the pain of ownership is actually a self-protective mechanism that allows you to be like, hey, because this is my fault, that inherently means that I can actually affect change. So you take on the pain originally, but then you still have the power to change it. I want my guys to know it. I want them to feel it. I want them to believe it. And they do. And so actually sometimes you go through the miserable process of it, but the only way you get out the other side with your guys feeling like, hey, things are going wrong, but I can actually change the flow of how this game is going is if they see it every single day in their organization. And that's a win. So again, it's both things are true. I can do way better with the messaging. I can understand how things are, kind of cherry picked and do better there, but I'll never give up my guys' ownership of their situation ever.
Hey, Mark, real quick here. When we look at the standings, it is actually what we kind of thought. Both teams got here in different ways. The top of the SEC, Florida, Kentucky. You play the Gators on Saturday. What must go well for Kentucky to beat Florida?
That's a long list, Andy. It's a long list. There's a lot of things that got to go well for us. This Florida team is really good. They're veteran, they're experienced, their leadership comes, it's almost like their leadership and their size are like one and the same. They've just been so dominant physically on the glass, in the paint, with their pace. Todd does an unbelievable job. So it's a road game in the SEC, which it doesn't matter if you're playing the best team or the worst team in the SEC. It takes a miracle to win on the road, and that's why it's such a fun league. So, it's all that. For us, one of the keys recently, we had a real debacle at Vanderbilt where there were 100 things that went wrong. But since then, it's been a mantra of ours that we're gonna rise up to the physicality of the occasion. And there's no test probably in our league more significant than Florida in terms of just the physicality of standing up and owning some space and engaging in the fight. This Ruben Chinyelu, I hope I said that name right. I think he's a special player. I got a ton of respect for this kid, man. I don't know anything about him as a human being, but except what you can read and how he plays, and the physicality and versatility that he brings, especially on the defensive end of their team, is unbelievable. And they have incredibly skilled and talented players up and down all around, including Howe, who, might be if he's not the best player in this league, he's definitely one of the best. I think I might have the best player in the league on my team, but they're a great team. They're a defending national championship. The place will be rocking. They're going to bring all the physicality, and we're going to have to stand up and try and deal with it.
It's going to be fun. All right, Mark, before we let you go, you haven't ticked off enough people this season, so I want to ask you this question. You ready?
Yeah.
Give me your all-time starting five for Kentucky basketball.
Man, you're asking me the impossible question.
Yeah. Well, let's take you off of it just to ease the pressure on that decision. Yeah. So give me five other guys not named Mark Pope.
There you go. Well, I was just going to say, of course, it's always just me. Listen, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to give you true answers. One of the beautiful things about this program is spending the right guys at the right time. It just is. It's the right guys at the right time. And so you take a guy out of their generation or out of their team concept or out of their coach-player relationship, and they're just it's not a standalone for me. And I say that, and this is not deflecting. Guys, when this, I'll get off my high horse in 2 seconds, but when we get away from this, from embracing the power of a team and the fact that that's how individuals are elevated, I just think we miss the beauty of the game. And so I know it's not fun media-wise to not, because what we do is want to debate about this guy or that guy, but it's just like, I'm a true believer, man. And so I just, we've been blessed to have a lot of the greatest teams that have ever played this game here. And when you take those teams apart, I just don't think they're the same. I don't think the individuals are the same without the team.
Okay. It's a bit of a dodge, but it was very eloquent.
If you ask me, top five media guys, clearly Seth Davis and Andy Katz in the top five all time. Clearly.
You see that? See,
Hey,
see,
Seth,
now it's an
there could
acceptable.
be,
I was about to rip your answer, and now I'm going to say that's an actually very good answer. If you want to turn
and
around
you know
on me
what,
and Andy,
Seth? There could be a Senate opening, a governor opening in the years to come in Kentucky. Mark's the guy right there. Great political answers.
I know he's the best. Mark, look, we know how busy you are, and we really appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the season, and especially in Gainesville on Saturday. And don't be a stranger, okay?
All right, boys. Appreciate you.